Hello, I'm Jared Richardson, the co-designer of Quiltable. My wife and I designed Quiltable as a fun quilting card game for 1 to 4 players that plays in about 30 minutes. Each player is working to create a unique quilt that scores the most points possible, and scoring mostly comes from the pattern cards. So if you look in the middle, we've got the pattern area that has 4 different stacks of pattern cards, and it's surrounded by quilt block cards that can be selected. Actions include selecting a pattern card, selecting 2 to 4 connected quilt block cards, or returning cards, 1 to 4 cards from your quilt back to the pattern area. On your turn, you can select 2 different actions or 2 of the same action to perform, and each player also has a unique ability that allows you to work your way around specific rules. So throughout the game, you're looking for ways to complete your pattern objectives. Some of them might ask you to get 3 of the same card in a row, or 2 specific cards next to each other, or a specific pattern of different cards within a square. And you can score patterns multiple times, but you can never score the same quilt block towards the same pattern twice. So you need to really work out how everything needs to go into your quilt spatially. And as you return cards that don't fit with your quilt, the pattern area expands, which increases the options for other players in the future and for yourself for what you can do. So throughout the game, you're trying to determine the most optimal moves and make sure you don't fall too far behind in case the other player decides to end the game. You want to make sure that you can score points. There are various endgame bonuses. If your quilt is symmetrical, then you score 10 points. If it's symmetrical in 2 different ways, you score 15 points. If you trigger the end of the game, you score an additional 5 points. And if you complete your quilt, then you score an additional 5 points. And some of the cards are also worth a point, and so you need to be watching out for that as you're deciding which cards to select. And it makes for some really unique trade-offs and considerations. We've had a lot of fun with Quiltable, and we think that you can too.